Okay. All right, I think we're going to give it a little bit of time. I know I'm having a little technical difficulty. This is one of the downfalls, right, of technology, but we're here regardless. So anyway, my name is Ramon Lowe. I'm the Director of Membership and Industry Engagement for the Airport Minority Advisory Council, and this is the first Legends and Leapers of the year. And again, if you're not familiar with Legends and Leapers, this is our monthly virtual program where Lauren and Ricky get to kind of grill our wonderful panelists and guests on a number of topics. And don't worry, I think before we went live, we assured Ralph that we were not going to make him do long division during
No,
the
please.
interview. So
Not
that's
much.
completely off the table, but we will ask that of Michelle. So anyway. Um, anyway, we're extremely excited to have both of our guests today. But before we get to them, just a couple of major announcements from the national office. The first, if you haven't already, please make sure you renew your membership. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. My email is rlo@amac-org.com. We have a lot of things coming up, mainly chapter elections. So if you want to run, or if you want to participate and vote, you want to become a member of the chapter, you need to be a member of the national office first. So make sure you reach out to me and let me know if you have any questions in regards to your renewal. Second, this is another annual event and probably more so important than in years past. We have our annual Economic Opportunity Policy Forum. Registration is now live. It's been live for several days, and we've seen a number of folks already sign up. Please go to AMAC Forum, that's AMACFORUM.com to register. There you can not just register, but you can review any of the sponsorship opportunities that we have and really kind of see the agenda as we start finalizing it. And like I said, I know last year, I always say this is an important time to attend and show your support. But I'm going to say this is more important this year for you to kind of attend and show your support for us at the Econ Forum. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, kind of related to the Econ Forum, this Friday, January 31st at noon Eastern, we are hosting a virtual town hall. We've titled it State of AMAC, the Path Forward. So you do not want to miss this. There's been a lot of executive orders, a lot of things that have been going on out there since the changeover in administration. I think a lot of questions from our members and the industry as a whole with regards to what is happening next and what is AMAC doing about it. So please make sure that you register. I will make sure to put the link in the chat. So again, if you're an AMAC member, please register to attend. You do not want to miss this. So with that, I don't want to take any more time from Ricky and Lauren. And with that, I will hand it off to you folks. See, Ricky, I went with you first. So that first
Well,
of the
you
year,
didn't
go
really
first.
start with me. You started out saying Lauren and Ricky, but that's okay.
Well, age before beauty, but go ahead.
Okay, that's not how you started. But anyway, I digress. Good afternoon. It's good to see you all again. This uh, first one of the year. So, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, and if you've been around for a while, this will be a reminder. This is kind of a virtual session where we bring together someone who's been in the industry for a while, a little more experience, or maybe quite more experience, but someone who's more established in the industry. And we pair that with someone who's maybe a relative newcomer on the rise, not quite yet a dinosaur. Sorry, said that, Ralph, but someone who's still working his or her way up in the industry. And we ask them questions that they haven't been asked before, perhaps, just to see if there's a difference in opinion or perspective or approach to a situation. And we often find that there's a lot of commonality, but sometimes we have to break up a fight. And hopefully, we don't have a fight today. Michelle is a little aggressive, but we'll work on that. And so the purpose here is to inspire, inform, educate, motivate the listeners. And we've been successful over the years with that. And hopefully you'll find that to be the case with this show. My sidekick, and I do mean my sidekick on the show, this is the person who supports me in this show, is Lauryn Mangum Reed. We've given her the task of introducing the ledger and the leaper. Now her part is easy because she gets to read it. My part, I'm ad-libbing. This is all coming from my head. She gets to read her stuff. With that being said, I'll turn it over to Lauren.
Well, we talked about book smarts and my literacy level being higher, which is why I typically read the bios because I know all the words on the page. So thank you so much, Ricky. It's such a pleasure and a blessing to be here starting 2025 off with you. I'm really excited to have these two individuals with us today. So I'm actually going to start with Mr. Ralph. Now, it looks like his last name is Cutie. He is a good looking gentleman, but it's actually Cutié. He is the director of Chief Executive and Executive Officer of the Miami International Airport. He oversees operations at MIA and 4 general aviation airports in the Miami area, which together generate $118 billion in business revenue and support nearly 700,000 direct, indirect, related, and induced jobs. MIA leads the way, handling more than 52 million passengers and 2.7 million tons of cargo annually, placing it among America's busiest international passenger and cargo airports. Previously, Mr. Cutié served as Assistant Director for Facilities Management and Engineering, overseeing the largest and most diverse division within the aviation department, comprised of more than 440 employees and a budget of $123 million. He is a 33-year county veteran with over
34 now.
Oh, excuse me, 34-year county veteran. We got to update your bio. County veteran with over 36 years, maybe 37 years of experience in the fields of project control, critical path method, scheduling, project management, construction contracting, and construction claims and administration. He's obtained his degree in construction management from Florida International University in 1989, and he possesses numerous certificates in scheduling, project management, design build, and claims administration from the National Transit Institute, and served as the instructor in the county's construction management training program. Say that 10 times fast. Specifically in the areas of project scheduling, project documentation, and construction claims and disputes. He is married with 3 children and lives in the Southwest Miami-Dade area. Now, Ricky called you a dinosaur. I'm just going to call you well-seasoned because that is a bio to lead with, okay? The newcomer to the group is Miss Michelle Hoysick. I'm excited to have her on, breaking up all this domination that's happening. She is actually a business developer in the Colorado transportation industry. She has a proven track record as a capture manager for successful marketing pursuits in new markets. She has experience in project management, program management, construction management, and civil engineering, inspection and maintenance services for large capital improvement programs. She's very well versed in multidisciplinary projects using design build, progressive design build, public-private partnership, design, bid, build, project delivery methods. With experience in engineering and construction projects is valued at more than $6 billion, big B, not the little one. Ms. Hoysick is knowledgeable in several industry sectors, including highway, water, rail, transit, aviation, and commercial infrastructure. She is active in the Colorado transportation industry, including the current WTS Colorado president. Michelle has directed design build teaming and pre-bid activities for DB, PDB, P3 transportation projects across the country with a focus on projects in excess of $100 million. Her specific expertise includes DB contract statements of qualifications, alternative technique concepts, technical proposals, and pre-bid engineering and post-award DB engineering oversight.
Acronyms.
That's a lot.
I'm just gonna go grab my inhaler really quick, guys, to bring some oxygen back to my lungs after reading these amazing bios. Whew, all right.
Woo. So, is it my turn?
It is, just so I can catch my breath.
Thank you. So why don't we jump right into our first question? And this question is for both of you. We're in the beginning of the year, and this time of year, most of us are, kind of establishing resolutions, goals, what we plan to do for the year, and that kind of stuff. I'm not a big resolution person, but be that as it may, I need you to kind of project yourself to the end of the year and just consider all the stuff that's on your plate that you're responsible for. And I'm talking professionally, not personally. And at the end of the year, what do you want to be able to say you've accomplished?
Who do you want to go first?
The smartest one.
That will be Michelle. You can go first.
I can go first. Projecting to the end of 2025, obviously we're just getting up off the ground, but I really want to put a focus, a little bit background. I've been with AECOM for about a year. So the first year kind of just figuring out the processes and procedures of a large company. And this year I really want to put a focus on implementation around our pursuit strategy processes, our teaming, just put some real strategy around that. And then put additional focus on our targets, supposed to in the aviation industry with the big programs going on at DEN, as well as other clients around Colorado on the transportation side.
All right. Tell that guy Dwight, who kind of has that part-time job heading up your company, that I said hi when you
Will do.
Okay, thank you.
Let me go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, Ricky, I would say my professional goal for this year is, and we were talking about, kind of off camera before, we have a very ambitious little bit over $9 billion capital improvement and modernization program here at Miami International. About 1.7 billion of that is for modernization of deferred maintenance, like conveyances, elevators, escalators, loading bridges, roofing work, etc., electrical infrastructure hardening, that kind of thing. And the remaining 7.4 billion is for capital improvements, which is expansion of our terminals, modernization of our terminals, growth of the airport. We've had over the last 3 years, 3 straight years of record-breaking growth. We had 50.7 million passengers 2 years ago, 52.3 last year, and we finished up this year at nearly 56 million passengers. So we've had very strong growth the last 3 years. Our long-term projections are 77 million by the year 2040. So our capital improvement plan and our modernization program they're essentially a 15-year program. And the reason it's so important is because we need to accommodate that 77 million projection by the year 2040. So my goal for this year is we're fully engaged capital and modernization program. So that $9 billion is currently underway. We've spent, I think, to date about 1.4 billion of that on a slew of different projects. And the goal for this year is to actually numerous goals. We're going to be breaking ground on a brand new hotel in May, which will kind of state-of-the-art brand new hotel, 540 rooms, state-of-the-art facilities. So we expect to break ground on that in May. And we also expect to break ground on our first terminal expansion here at Miami International in nearly 20 years. It's going to be a roughly $750 million total project cost design build project, which was, we call it our Concourse K lovingly because it comes after J, and J is our last terminal. So it's going to be a $750 million total project cost project. It's going to add another 6 gates to our airport, which you desperately need. Those will all be domestic narrow body gates initially. And in the future, 3 of them will become international capable at some point. So that project will not only expand the airport, add additional gates, but it'll add another 21,000 square feet plus or minus of concession space and another 11,000 square feet plus or minus for lounges. So since it's our first new big terminal expansion, we hope to break ground on that sometime this summer. We're finalizing the procurement process for the design builder. And again, we're excited about it because it'll be the first major expansion here at our airport in nearly 20 years. So those are the things professionally here as an airport that we are very much excited about and that I'm excited about, along with what I mentioned before, some of the modernization stuff. We have, a slew of elevators, escalators, and moving walks, which we have to modernize. That's currently underway. We're replacing all of our loading bridges. We're going to go to all glass bridges moving forward. So we already replaced about 32 bridges, and the remainder moving forward will all be glass. That's kind of in line with the industry trend in Europe and places like that. So a lot of cool things happening. I'm very, very blessed to be part of the team that's working on it. And that for the next year, we really want to kind of continue to advance the capital program and get our airport to where it should be. I mean, right now our rankings are through the roof, both in passenger volume and in cargo volume. We can go over that later, but so those are things that I'm looking forward to this year.
A lot of exciting stuff, both of you. A packed year, and if you accomplish half of what you set out to accomplish by the end of the year, you can declare victory. So speaking about the year, a lot has happened just in the beginning of this year that affects the membership or may affect the membership that AMAC represents. And so, Ralph, you've been around long enough to know that as in terms of issues affecting the industry, this is kind of cyclical, right? We go through cycles where there's something that's going to turn the industry upside down, and then things calm, and then there's another, issue. Michelle, you've experienced that as well. Um, can you guys tell me from your perspective, when, given what the industry is going through now and all the worry that's associated with you, as a professional, as a leader in this industry, are you excited to be leading through this challenge, or are you dismayed, and why?
Both. I think, well, an example of what you're talking about, we had a DB outreach event for a large transit project coming up here in Denver. And the question came up, based on what's going on at the federal level, will you continue to uphold your DB commitments? And all we can do is uphold our commitments, specifically speaking to AECOM. We will continue to be a partner to our small businesses and continue to give them that meaningful opportunities that we need to. I think there's some dismay in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
don't know
right.
how there.
I would say, Ricky, that, I think the industry sometimes is underestimated. I think we're a pretty robust industry, and we're pretty resilient when it comes to addressing challenges and things that come up. And kind of to piggyback on what Michelle said, yeah, we've had contractors and other companies that work here express, concern about, maybe how things are going to shake out depending on what happens at the federal level. But I can tell you, here at MIA, we have a very, very strong and very long-standing, proud, historic record of working with small businesses, DBs, et cetera. I think, as an example, our concessions program, we have, I think, the highest percentage of small business, locally flavored businesses of any airport in the country, about 35% participation in that regard. So, and we'll continue with that. We have had many years of success working with small businesses. We've had small businesses here that are the backbone of a lot of the work we do here, either as primes on some of our smaller projects or as subcontractors on our bigger projects. So I don't think any of that will change. I mean, maybe some of the requirements as far as contractual requirements and bidding requirements may change, but we'll continue to support small businesses here locally. They're the backbone of our community. Our mayor is very much a supporter of small businesses. So I think that'll continue. And I think ultimately, to Michelle's point, I'm the eternal optimist. So I always try to see the glass half full, and, we'll figure out solutions and ways that we can move forward, and while we still continue to comply. But I think the future is bright for the industry. I think, there's always going to be some concern when you have, changes in Washington or at the federal level, but we always figure out a way to work through them. And I think the future for the industry is very bright.
So before Lauryn jumps in, I just want to remind the audience to please chime in on Friday at noon, where there will be a robust discussion around this topic, and hopefully you'll get a chance to weigh in and help AMAC reinforce its role in working through what could be a challenging period for a lot of us.
So I actually want to jump back a little bit, Ricky. You talked about goals for 2025, right? And both Michelle and Ralph, professionally, very big things ahead. I think 2025 from a business perspective is going to be just extreme growth for both of you. What about personally? You guys have some big professional goals. Where are you fitting your personal endeavors in there for 2025? And what do those look like, if you don't mind sharing?
Absolutely. It's constant challenge. I am a COVID mom. I have a 1 and a 3-year-old. And if anybody has preschoolers in January, everyone knows how sick everyone is. So it's a constant circle of fevers and being up all night holding toddlers, and then finding a way to still manage to get up and come to work and do the professional thing as well. So it's a constant balance. And, some days I'm a A+ mother, and some days I'm an A+ employee. And sometimes those don't fall on the same day, but that's okay. Just being where you're needed the most at that time and being able to keep everything balanced. And I think, both personally and professionally, a lot of goals to move forward for 2025.
So Lauryn, as the already designated dinosaur in the conversation, so
I did not name you specifically.
We all heard it. It's recorded. It's recorded, Ralph. He said it.
I'll take it as a term of endearment from Rick. So Michelle, I've been in exactly your boat. I'm 58, so my kids are grown. My kids are 30, just almost 30, almost 27, and almost 20. So my oldest son, he's got his PhD already 4 years ago in genetics and bioengineering. So he works in North Carolina. My daughter's 26, she's in law school. And I have my youngest is a sophomore at the University of Florida. So I'm in a different stage of my life. My wife and I are empty nesters. So my personal goals are a little different. To your point, you're staying up like we used to when the kids were up and sick and we had to come to work the next day and sometimes be sick ourselves after a night of non-sleeping. Been there, done that, and hang in there. It does get better, and enjoy this time, because though you never get those times back when they're small. But I guess personally, my goal would be, or our goals are, my wife and I, we've been married 34 years and change. It would be, first of all, obviously get our daughter through law school, and she's just finished her first semester, did very well. So get her done with that, get my youngest son through college, and then kind of get them, moving on with their lives and their personal and professional, professional careers and personal lives. So we're at a different level right now. We've already kind of raised them, and now they're out flying. So our job is to just make sure that we support them in everything we do. We travel on the weekends to visit them. And we have a lot of flights going into RDU, so we visit the two older ones in North Carolina relatively often for the weekend when I can get away from work. And my youngest is a 5-hour drive from Miami to Gainesville, so we visit him relatively often as well. So, I mean, right now we're at the point where we just enjoy them as adults. We take family vacations once a year. Thank God they still like hanging out with the old folks. They still like hanging out with their parents. So we take family trips. Last year we were in Spain and Portugal for 2 weeks during summertime when our board of county commissioners recesses, and I get a little break as far as having to present items. So our goals are that is to spend as much time with them as possible. And then when they start having grandkids, then we'll be involved with them too. So that's the personal level that we're at right now.
All right. Well, let me kind of dive into that a little bit more. And Lauryn, thanks for teeing up the personal aspect. And so, both of you are experienced parents, one a little more than the other. Right?
I don't know if I'd call myself experienced.
We're in the thick
We get by.
figuring it out.
But based on the experience that you have, if you if you look at the management responsibilities and challenges that you have as a professional, can you speak to any practices or concepts that you use as a parent that you've applied as a manager professionally?
Yes. My
Oh,
first
wow,
answer
you're
is
enthusiastic about that, huh? Okay.
schedules. Everything's schedules, and I know Ralph's background will back this up. But scheduling everything, scheduling the time I'm going to work, scheduling the time my kids need me if I need to pick one up this day, scheduling night work if I need it. Once the kids go to bed, just being really diligent. My schedule is crazy. It's very color coded. It's very organized, but that's the only way I found to actually get everything you want to accomplish, both on the personal and professional level.
Yeah, that's interesting because kind of like parenthood in the airport industry. We often say only fools think that they can plan out their day, because one thing about airports, the day never goes the way you plan it to go, right?
So I would say, to piggyback on what Michelle said, I think as far as applying from your personal life and what you do as a parent to work, it's kind of weird. I grew up as, in athletics my entire life, team sports. I played football in Little League, high school, college, and some of the best lessons and some of the best management lessons that I ever learned, I learned from coaches that I played with, which is show up to meetings early, be on time, be prepared. The two best lessons I ever learned was from an offensive line coach I played for in college. And it was a prepare well, and then you won't need luck. The luck will take care of itself if you prepare well. And the second thing he used to always say is play every day like if your job is on the line. It's not a, like a negative comment. It's just don't take things for granted. You always come in every day, you give 100%. And I try to apply that. As a dad for my kids, just to let them know, listen, nothing's going to be given to you. You got to work. And we try to do the same thing with our employees. We're good, we're compassionate. We try to be very human with our employees, but at the same time, hold them accountable and try to lead them by example. And we do that. We try to do that every day. I mean, I tell Greg C., our comms director, and he knows the story, but we had an employee years ago when I was in my previous role. And he stopped me by the elevator one day and he said, "Hey, I see your car here every day early in the morning, and I'm wondering where's he going with this, because this was kind of a problem child." And then what he ended up telling me is, "You're here every morning and your car's here, and by the time we're leaving, your car's still here." I have a lot of respect for that. So that coming from an employee means a lot, because that means that they're seeing the example. You're trying to lead by example. You're trying to show them that, look, I'm not just some guy here in a big office. I'm putting in the hours. I'm grinding just like you are. And I think that comes from, when you play sports, when you're a parent, Michelle will tell you, parenting is a grind. And when you have little kids, you got to run around and schedule time. So I think if you show them that and you lead by example, that's how you apply those lessons to the workplace. It's funny how those things kind of intertwine.
Okay, Ralph, you just gave me a lot, but I have to take 2 steps back, because I know that you are Miami Catholic schoolboy.
Mm-hmm.
You played football, but you just said you're offensive line coach. Sir, find it hard to believe that you were on the O-line.
Okay, so the way you see me now, I'm like mere shell of what I was. At one point when I was in college, I was about a cheeseburger short of 300 pounds at about 6'4". So I'm about 215 now when I get up in the morning. So because I try to watch what I eat. It's not good to be 300 pounds when you're 58 years old. So at some point I was kind of a large guy. No longer. I'm just kind of a beat up old guy now. So yeah,
Okay.
I was a
Ricky,
left.
Ramon, we gotta go to the archives. We gotta find an O-line Ralph back
I
in
know, for
I
real.
can send you some pictures. I can send you,
I don't believe it.
yeah. I was a left tackle in high school and a guard in college.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
And this is why I love Legends and Leapers. We can talk about business all day, but when you learn stuff like that about somebody, it just takes it to the next level.
Well, I'm sure he shed some weight with hair loss too. So
Oh no, absolutely.
As dinosaurs typically do.
That's for sure.
Happens, yeah. But
I didn't call him a dinosaur again.
we
That's
all
okay.
heard it, Ricky. It's too late. So you talked about hard work, and both of you all, I mean, your engineering backgrounds, just you guys heard the bios. I said billion, I don't know how many times. I said multi-millions, I don't know how many times. What can you, if you could name just a few things as it pertains to hard work and just how you got into where you are today? What were those things that were consistent, that were constant to just keep you going, to progress your career to where it is today?
Ladies first, Michelle.
Sounds good. I think the biggest thing to project your career was doing the work that others didn't want to do. Taking the assignments that maybe weren't the most popular, on some of my first projects there, the schedule delays, the utility relocates, the right-of-way support, some of the less glamorous stuff that weren't the top of anyone's list were the ones that I jumped into and tried to make a focus. And I felt like that got noticed, and that's what ultimately helped project my career probably the quickest. That was the first thought that came to mind. Probably others, but that was the first thought that came to mind.
Good.
And to piggyback on what Michelle said, she stole my thunder. I would say a lot of that, like I said, I learned in athletics, when you're, at least in my case, I was conditioned to be a grinder. I wasn't the best athlete, but in my mind, kind of like it was drilled into me, don't let anybody outwork you. So what you do is you come into work every day and you put in the time and you grind. And by doing that, good things happen. So that was the whole point is, you may not be this, and I tell our guys that all the time. You may have the most brilliant person, and that's great, and you have talent, but there's nothing in life worse than wasted talent. And if you're not willing to work hard, you're going to have all the talent in the world. You're not going to get anywhere. It's got to be a combination of things. I tell my kids, Michael Jordan didn't become Michael Jordan. He was obviously supremely physically talented, but the guy had a work ethic. And if you read about him, he worked out every day before games, or he got a cut from his high school basketball team when he was a sophomore. And look at where he is now. So I think the most important thing is that you have to be willing to come to work and put in the time and understand the fact that nothing will be given to you. And it's about working for what you're going to get. And that's kind of been, and also I've been extremely, extremely blessed to have great mentors in my career. And to Michelle's point, I had a boss for 22 of my 34 years in the county, and he would always say, you need to get better at what you don't like to do. You're very good at some things, but the things you don't like to do, you have to work to improve, because then you become a balanced person and a balanced employee and a balanced professional. It's easy to do what you like. That's easy. It's a lot harder to get good at what you don't like to do as much and become proficient at it. That is, I think, the key to moving up is becoming valuable in that way.
That's good.
How can you follow that one, Lauren?
Um, you said you can't follow that one?
I said, how can you follow that one? That's both are
Oh,
very, very insightful questions.
agree. I asked
Response-
the question, so I thought those answers were absolutely phenomenal. So I thought that you were
Well,
trying
I
to
like
figure out
her. I like her.
how you were going to follow up with a better question
See.
than the one that I just asked.
I was trying to be nice and give her some airtime.
In all seriousness, we have several people on the line. I know Maria has chimed in the chat. If anyone has any questions for Michelle or Ralph, please drop them into the chat or the Q&A. If not, I can keep going. I don't know if Ricky,
No, I'll jump in. First of all, what you're sharing is inspiring and motivating to a lot of people, and to some people, you're kind of confirming their experience, and sometimes people need that, right? But a lot of what you're talking about is about attitude. You got to have the right attitude to take the approach that you guys are talking about. And sometimes we get in our own way, right? Sometimes it's not the lack of an opportunity. It's not, a whole bunch of other things. Sometimes we get in our own way. And so can you talk a little bit about an instance or something, an occasion where you have gotten in your own way and you've overcome it?
Sure. I'm actually going to go Ralph's direction. I also was a collegiate athlete. I played volleyball in college, didn't know what engineering was, but went to an engineering school and became an engineer. But when you thought of getting in your own way, certainly that happens quite a bit on the athletic. I played volleyball again, so just on the court, and you lose confidence in yourself. Something goes wrong, you have a bad play, you have a bad match, and then it can really spiral and you can go down the hill. So just coming up with the mental strength and the mental how to condition yourself to turn those days around. And I actually think overall, he mentioned he's a glass half full person. I certainly would say I am as well. So a lot of it is, gratitude, mindset, just ultimate positivity, and taking the challenges and the roadblocks that come up and turning them around and moving forward from there.
Michelle, I can kind of relate to that because I played basketball growing up, and I could score at will on pretty much anybody that played against me. And I would often feel sorry for the people that were playing against me, that were trying to defend me.
Yeah.
And I had to get out of my own way by, not letting up,
Yeah.
Anyway,
That was really nice of you.
you can
Very
relate. Yeah. What's so funny, Ralph? Why are you laughing at me?
No, that's great. No, that was a great answer.
You'll tell me how you really feel when I see you later.
No, okay. I would piggyback on what Michelle said as far as getting out of your own way. I think she hit it right on the head. I think sometimes as professionals, when you get to a certain level and you listen to the outside noise, and again, we go back to the athletic, like Michelle said, the athletic background. Sometimes, whether it's positive noise or negative noise, and I guess getting out of your own way to me is, kind of tuning out the outside noise, and that's why I try to always be glasses half full kind of guy. In my mind, and my wife and I are both pretty faithful people. I work as hard as I can, and I leave the rest up to the man upstairs, and he's always taking care of me and my wife and our family. So to me, you do what you have to do, work hard, and kind of tune out. And Ricky, and very well, and Michelle, you as well. I mean, when you work in an environment like this, especially in today's age of social media, which to me, my personal opinion, is the bane of our modern society, but whatever. And it's always negative, and why is this going wrong? Listen, you have to kind of push through all that, remain positive, remain focused on the job at hand, and just get the work done. And eventually, when you do that, things fall into place. So all the haters, they're temporary. They'll criticize and say things, and why is the airport doing this, and why is this broken, and why is that? And listen, my answer is we're working on it. We're actively addressing it. And you need to be able to tune that out. And again, we talk about athletics. It happens when you're on a losing team or a winning team. All that outside noise can become like a cancer and poison your organization. So to me, you have to maintain, as the person leading the operation, you have to maintain positivity. You have to make sure that you empower your people, etc. And that's how you get out of your own way. Just kind of tuning out the noise and just focusing on the task. Again, and what I tell guys is, listen, you get knocked down, you get back up, dust your uniform off, and you line up again and knock the guy back again. You keep plugging away.
Well, Ralph, I guess just from your motivational speech that you don't even realize that you just did, Ricky is going to officially probably strive for being a silver sneakers Olympic swimmer by the end of this year.
There you go.
And possibly the silver sneakers intramural basketball champion. I don't know.
Intramural. Wow.
But
And you know I can't swim.
That's you. That's
Just
negative thought.
no, that is
Get
cruel. You know
head.
I'm afraid of the water. You know that. That's
Ralph
cruel.
said, get those thoughts out of your head, Ricky. Don't let that get in
Always
your
be
way.
positive.
You
Always
got
be
this.
positive. Always be positive.
You already got the bald head for like the Michael Phelps thing. You got this, Ricky.
Yeah.
Positivity. Thank you. Someone said Dwayne Wade. We're getting a little too
Yes.
far-fetched here. Let's get back to business, guys.
D-Wade.
So Ralph, I like your positivity. I can feel through the screen. Your energy, I feel through the screen. Like I absolutely love it. I have a question for you, and this might throw you off a little bit.
Sure.
You know, we talk about shoulders that we've stood on. We talk about mentors and everything else. Are there any shoes that you are, how do I say this? Is there anyone that you're like, I don't want to be in their shoes?
Hmm.
You mean as far as in a professional position?
You name it.
And not because they have small shoes. Yes.
And
Okay.
yes.
Okay, I can tell you, I would never
And
want
why?
I would never want to be like in a politician's shoes. That's just not my, I would not, I don't think I would do well in that arena. You know, my wife and I kid around about it all the time. I'm a grinder. Give me something to do and I'll figure out a way to do it. And, you know, the lineman mentality, give me an obstacle. I'll knock it over, push it out of the way or try to figure out a way around it. But I would not do well in a political environment. So if you say what kind of shoes I would not want to be in, I would not want to be like a policymaker or a politician. You know, and everybody's good at that. And I'm not knocking politicians there. I mean, they do very good work and that's what they do. But I don't think I would do well in that environment. To me, I'm more task oriented. Just, let me know what you want done and, I'll get the team together and we'll get our heads together and figure out a way to do it. We got a play to run. We'll run the play, try to get the score. That's my thing. But that's one set of shoes I would never want to be in, is being in any kind of political office or policy-making, decision-making office. That's just not me. I'm more, and again, some people are great at it, and that's good because you need people that can do those things and set policy. I'm more like an implementer guy. Just give me something to do and just point my back in the right direction, tell me who I have to block, and let them run behind me, and we'll do what we have to do. So that's kind of my mindset.
I think that's a good question for Michelle.
Yeah. So I think I can't say 100% that there are shoes that I would never want to be in. I think it's more looking for the right shoes to fit at the right time of where you are personally, professionally in your career. I'll give you an example. When I first started, I was young. I just finished college. I was at a large consulting engineering firm that had international opportunities, and I really wanted to have that opportunity to go abroad. But given that I was entry level, I wasn't necessarily what they're looking for. And then all of a sudden, by the time I got to the point in my career where they were looking at me, that was right around the time that I met my now husband, and that just didn't align personally anymore. So I think I don't want to rule out any shoes at this point, but I think it's more aligning with the shoes with where you are in life.
So earlier we were talking about what you would like to accomplish this year, and in that discussion you talked about a lot of the projects and opportunities that you're working on in both your organizations. And then Lauryn kind of derailed the discussion and went into your personal business, but I'm sorry, I digress. I want to go back to the professional side if we can. AMAC is constantly trying to find ways to enhance opportunities for our membership. So in your respective roles, based on what you know about AMAC, and there may be a lot that you know about AMAC, there may not be as much, but from your vantage point, what is it that AMAC can do to help you try to get to that end of the year that you talked about earlier in this presentation?
I think some of the biggest benefits that come out of organizations like AMAC is the networking, the professional networking all the way around, the building the relationships, the sharing of intel, the leveraging, finding out DBEs that are interested in roles, and just the meeting people associated with these type of organization is the biggest benefit and what I would look to leverage for 2025.
That's interesting because that's one of AMAC's strengths, one of our strengths, and people that normally has a different connotation. So it's very enlightening to hear AECOMs tout that as a value, as a benefit to you, the networking piece, because we think it's beneficial, we think it's a value added, and so thanks for saying that.
I wasn't prompted. It was genuine.
There you go. Good stuff.
So to kind of piggyback on what Michelle said, I'll go back to what we were talking about a little while before. How can AMAC help? To me, one of the most important things when it comes to an organization is really talent acquisition. There's an old saying, I'm sure you guys are familiar with it from coaching in football. It's not about the X's and the O's, it's about the Jimmies and the Joes. So I think one of the things that AMAC can help is, providing the pipeline of talent, potential talent, developing talent that will help with our organizations, especially, minority talent that is maybe underrepresented in certain fields like engineering, et cetera. I think AMAC is a good tool and a good kind of pool of talent that can be tapped into for organizations like us, like other airports, like other engineering companies. So that's what gives it its value, is that you provide that pipeline to up and coming talent that will become ultimately the future of our industry. So that's where I think you guys play a really great role.
Thank you.
So obviously I can't get off of here without talking about succession planning, and Ralph, and you just teed that up for me perfectly. I'm gonna kind of go left to go right here, but you have 3 very successful children that are, one's kind of following in the engineering footsteps, the other a lawyer, and one, soon to be determined getting through college. Succession planning professionally and personally, what does that look like, and what steps are you taking now for the future?
Well, I can tell you on our end, what we try to do is we try to develop talent and bring, at whatever level they come in at, and try to grow them, develop them based on what they plan on doing. And as an example, we have several of our employees that yearly go through the AMPAP training. I know the acronym, I forget what it is, but it's the training for airport professionals. So we encourage our employees, and we support and sponsor a group of our employees every year to be part of the AMPAP training. So we develop that talent because, like I said, I'm 58. I have no plans on retiring anytime soon, but at some point, my wife's going to yank me by the ear and say, you're done. So the idea is that, we do, and we do have, talent in place and talent that continues to move up the organization that will ultimately, I'm very confident they'll be able to take the reins and continue to grow this place and continue to keep it on the map and grow it on the map. So I think that's important, is being involved with organizations like you all, like AMPAP, where you can develop those employees, bring them in, and then it's like everything else. Now in college football, you have the portal, and there's a debate of, you use the portal to plug holes, the transfer portal to plug holes, and then you use your recruits to build the program from the foundation up. So we try to do a little bit of both. We try to bring in young employees, and when we recognize employees that have talents in certain areas, try to encourage them to continue studying, encourage them to continue working hard, moving up the organization, while at the same time, occasionally, we'll maybe recruit somebody at a higher level that wants to grow within our organization. So it's a combination of both things. So we do a lot of that, and succession planning is important to us because obviously this airport's not going to stop growing, and we want to make sure that it's in good hands once the rest of us are not here any longer.
We often, even though some of us don't want to admit it, we often talk about each other behind our backs or their backs.
I like to talk about you to your face.
I know you do, because it's such an amazing face to talk to. Such an amazing face to talk to. But some of us talk about others behind their backs, and some of us think about others behind their backs. And so when this is over, and who knows, it might be tomorrow, it might be next week, and you guys think back on this program, and Ralph, you think about Michelle and something she said, and Michelle, you think about Ralph and something he said. None of you are going to think about Lauryn. What is it about Ralph or Michelle that you're going to think? And from a professional standpoint, what is
So
it
Ricky,
about
you're not
each
going to
other that
allow
stands out?
Michelle to answer the previous question that she was chomping at the bit to answer,
Yeah.
and then go back to your question?
I did have a point on the last one, but I can also
Wow.
answer this. And what would you prefer me to do?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
Michelle, I would love for you to finish that thought because I saw the words
Please.
leave your lips before Ricky rudely interrupted you like that.
No,
Please.
no problem at all. So succession planning, where my mind went on this question was, I think the generation younger than me that went through COVID at a pivotal time in their careers, if it was during college, if it was during high school, it was the beginning of their career, they really didn't have as much opportunity to do, public speaking or the face-to-face networking. There was a lot of behind the computer Teams meetings. And so trying to look for opportunities now from the business development side. I mean, this isn't probably an engineering company specific issue, but trying to have opportunities for our young professionals to get out there and do coffee with clients and just engage in networking. So that is also something I'm focused on from a successions planning standpoint that I also think that AMAC can support.
Michelle, thanks for adding some legitimacy to her question. Much appreciated.
No problem.
All right.
Now back to whatever Ricky was saying.
Now back to my illegitimate question, if you can remember it. After this is behind you and you think about the program, you think about each other, what will you think, Ralph about Michelle and Michelle about Ralph?
I think Ralph exudes passion. You can just feel the passion through the monitor for his family, his profession, everything. Just all around. My one word for him would be passion.
Appreciate that. I would say what my take from Michelle is that you can tell she's a very, very smart lady. And you can tell from the way she speaks, not only both personally as a mother, you can tell she's a very, very caring mother. And I have a lot of respect for that. Watching my wife and us raise the three kids and the kind of mom she was, I could tell Michelle is a great mom. But besides that, you can tell she's a consummate professional because she mentioned it at the beginning. If you, all of us have done it, if you have kids, if you stayed up all night with a sick child, and then you got to get your behind up and go to work the next day early in the morning and trudge through your day when you're exhausted, that's a sign of a true professional. So when you're a mom and you're juggling both things, I have a tremendous amount of respect for working moms. So I think if I had to, say one word to describe Michelle, I would say she's dedicated. A dedicated mom, dedicated employee, consummate professional and mom. So very, very nice. The last hour we've gotten to know each other, you can tell she's got a very, very bright future ahead of her.
Thank you.
It's like dancing with Fred Astaire backwards in heels, huh? That's what ladies have to do.
Yeah, they got to juggle. I give ladies all the credit in the world.
The Fred Astaire. Hold on, I gotta come back.
That's going way back.
Yeah,
He went so far back, and he had the nerve to call you a dinosaur, Ralph.
That's going back. I mean, I'm old enough to know who the guy is.
Yes,
I
for
know,
real.
and that's why the see Michelle's like I don't
know that.
Only reason I know Fred Astaire
back in the 40s and 30s that was known for his dancing. I know it, but the fact that Ricky knows that, okay, so who's the dinosaur now? I think.
Exactly, Ralph. There's still dance studios named after him, so his name still lives on. But we digress. Coming back to the 2000s, let alone the 2020s. So both of you guys, former athletes, Ricky, whatever it was that he does, and myself as well. Ralph, and I have Basil's on the line. Before we end up, I want to hear because all of your analogies, your energy is, I feel like I'm like, put me in the game, coach. So I want to hear an example of the beginning of one of your meetings. And Michelle, this goes for you too, because you're also a volleyball player. We got Ace. We're hyping up, right? I want to hear legitimately if you had to motivate the team, bring the morale up, right? Because there's a lot going on right now. Right. How did you start your meeting?
Well, I mean, I try to, hopefully Basil will agree with me, but I try to always exude positivity and try to be as positive as possible. You don't get any percentage out of negativity. My grandmother used to say in Spanish that it's not what life throws at you, it's how you respond to it that makes you who you are. So I try to always, and to me, that's a huge deal. I mean, life's going to throw you curveballs. And if you're going to give in, then you're never going to overcome. The idea is that you're going to have challenges. And Basil can tell you, we have challenges here forget about every day, every half an hour, there's something going on here that we have to overcome. But you know what? If you don't face it with positivity and the desire to get over it, it'll crush you. It will crush you. So I think I try to start my meetings just by being positive, saying good morning to everybody. We run organized meetings. We go around the table. Everybody gets a say. I go over things that are maybe pending that are, kind of low hanging fruit or stuff that's important that we have to talk about. But I always try to frame the conversation in a positive way. I don't believe in negative reinforcement. I don't believe in chastising employees or I don't even look at them as employees. I look at them as coworkers. I don't believe in that. To me, we're all part of a big team. And then maybe that's the lineman in me that, listen, it's 5 guys and our job is to make sure our quarterback scores. We're not the glory boys. We get the satisfaction out of the job getting done. So that's what I try to kind of get across to our team. We're working together as a big team. And, if you're not going to have positivity as part of that team, you're not going to get very far. So that's what I try to instill in all of our team. Sometimes I have to push myself because maybe I'm in a bad mood or whatever, something went wrong, and I try to kind of fight that. But I credit my grandmother for that. That was her philosophy in life is, it's not what life gives you, it's how you react to it. And you can't control sometimes what life gives you, but you can very much control how you react to it. So I try to always, face things with that level of positivity and, let's line up for the next play and let's do it.
Let me jump in real quick. I got a note from the director. Basil's name has been mentioned several times. I'm hearing if Basil wants his name, and tell him to get his own show. Okay.
I don't have an earpiece. I didn't hear that.
They're telling Basil to get his own show.
Basil's our deputy director, and he's a former athlete too. He ran track.
I know this.
He knows where I'm coming from.
And yes, and he might.
He's a better athlete than I was, by the way. I was a lineman. Basil was actually a track guy.
Go ahead, Michelle. We got to hear your pep talk. We got to hear your game plan, baby.
Where I was going with this is I like to start my meetings with good food. I feel like you can learn a lot more about someone getting out of the more formal office setting, going for a cup of coffee, going out for lunch, going out for happy hour, even mentoring relationships within the office, internal with younger staff, having the opportunity to, have a cup of coffee and just get to know them through that. And then even if it's a, interview prep where we're going to be in the same conference room for the next 5 days, we better buckle up trying to have good food so that people can gather around the bagels and just have that informal touch to build. I feel like you build relationships and positivity that way as well.
And from the guy who's not supposed to be mentioned again on this show, Basil, he said Ralph is one of the best motivators and supporters of this team that I have worked for. He's been both a quarterback and a lineman.
That's very kind of him to say, but I think he's overstating my importance. But anyway.
Oh,
I'll take the compliment.
That's so cute.
Remember, cute is not something you say to a woman. I'm going to remember that next time I see you.
That's why I said it.
Okay, so we have the positivity, we have the food, we have the drinks. I think one of the things that I've, when we started this and I read you all's bios and even in the pre-call, I was like, if they go engineering, I am going to be lost. I'm gonna keep up, but I'm gonna be lost at the same time. I love Legends and Leapers because of the fact that kind of what Michelle just said. We get to learn about someone that we think that we've known for so much time, and we know from panels and bios and awards and everything else, but having the opportunity to really understand how you got to where you are because of the person that you are, and the personal endeavors that you've taken in order to get to where you are professionally truly is the biggest blessing. And I feel like I just am honored to have been on here with you guys, except for Ricky, and learn more about you and how you've gotten to where you are today and just who you guys are as people. So thank you for being so amazing. I just want to say that and give you your flowers.
And she said that without reading it.
It's actually right here. I pre-wrote it for the first time. No, I'm playing.
Thanks for the kind words, Lauryn. I appreciate it.
You guys are amazing. Thank you. Extremely impressive. Thank you so much. This was a great show. Great show. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this hour where you just watched Lauryn carry Ricky for about 45 minutes. So it was very enjoyable. I know Michelle and everyone and Ralph kind of enjoyed it. So Michelle, thank you so much for taking the time. Ralph, thank you so much. I'm not going to embarrass myself with my middle school Spanish. So
Middle school
I'm going to
French.
move on. But I will say, just before, I should have mentioned this at the top of the hour. So this is being recorded, and we will make sure that it is posted probably in the coming days on our YouTube channel. So I know a lot of folks definitely, were registered to attend, but unfortunately some things happened. So you can definitely watch this on our YouTube channel. Just go there and look up Airport Minority Advisory Council. So, and with that, again, thank you, Lauren and Ricky. Thank you to our guests, Ralph and Michelle. And once again, before I leave, again, our Economic Opportunity and Policy Forum, it's March 26th to 28th. You go to amacforum.com to register. And also this Friday, it is our town hall webinar. Please make sure you go to our event calendar. I put the link in the chat. Register to attend. It is a very, 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 very important meeting, so you cannot miss it. So anyway, with that, everyone have a good day and take care.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Ramon, before we get
Uh-oh.
off, I want to do this real quick. Ralph, you said what your grandma used to say in Spanish, but you said it in English. Can you close us out by saying it in Spanish?
Yeah, Ralph, dime.
Oh my God. How can I translate? My Spanish is okay, but not great. She said, see, the way she would say it is, no es como la vida te trata, como tú le respondes, or something like that.
Oh, wow.
We'll take it.
That was good. That was good. A little French in there, but that was good.
All right, gracias. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Thank you all so much. Have a blessed one. See you guys in February.
Be safe, guys.
You guys too.